Hey, what's up, guys? So, first off, I just want to say welcome to PN Coaching. I am Zach. I will be your head coach this year, and I am super excited to work with all of you. This is my fifth coaching group now. So, yeah, this will be my fifth year working with Precision Nutrition, and I get excited every single year. This is still a huge passion of mine, and I just really enjoy helping people make positive changes. So I hope that's something that I get across to each of you this year is that, I want to help each of you as much as you can, uh, as much as I can, sorry. So, you put in the effort, don't be afraid to reach out and, I'll do what I can. We have an awesome team behind us as well, and I'll post some intro videos from them. But we have two assistant coaches, Justin and Raphael, and two mentors, Andrew and Mark Klausner. And Andrew and Mark have both actually won the PN contest, so they have a lot of experience going through the program, and Justin does as well. So again, it'll be a lot of fun. So with this video, I want to basically just give you a little information about myself and then also explain how the year will unfold, because I'm sure you have a lot of questions about that. So a little bit about me. My name is Zach. I will be 32 in February. I have a year-old son. Well, he'll be a year on January 13th. I'm filming that a little bit ahead of that. That's my only child. And I have my wife, Emmy. She will be 34. She's a nurse. And she also likes to lift weights. She's done a few powerlifting meets that I've coached her in. So, that's my family. I grew up in Southern Indiana. I went to college at a little small liberal arts school, and then I did grad school in Indianapolis. And the way I got into this field is I really struggled with knee issues. I played every sport you can imagine growing up. I played basketball, baseball, football, tennis, golf, pretty much everything. And I went to play tennis in college, and I really just struggled with knee pain. So I actually had two knee surgeries on the same knee, and they just did not help at all. So the doctors basically told me, you're going to have to stop playing tennis. You're going to have to stop doing anything ballistic. It's just going to further aggravate your knee, and that's the only way you can live, pain-free. And I basically just couldn't accept that. I had been active my whole life. Like I said, I loved sports, lifting weights, snowboarding, all these things. And so I basically just started reading as much as I could on my own and trying to learn. And that led me to a guy named Mike Robertson, who had a gym actually where I was doing grad school. So I joined his gym and I learned a ton, and I basically overcame my knee pain. I learned, how to lift properly and develop stability in my hips and all of these things. And it made me very passionate about that area. So actually, the day after I graduated grad school, I started an internship at his gym, and they eventually hired me as a strength and conditioning coach and a full-time trainer. And there, I worked with all kinds of populations, just general pop clients to professional athletes. It's a gym called Indianapolis Fitness and Sports Training, and it's actually ranked one of the top 10 gyms in the U.S. For the past few years by Men's Health, and then also one of the top 10 gyms in the U.S. by Women's Health as well. So it's a really well-known gym, and I was very fortunate to work there. I learned a ton, and that's really what developed my passion in, exercise and things like that. And then I also, when I was having all the knee issues and I was forced to quit, playing tennis and being active, I went into some, a pretty bad mindset, just depression and things like that. And that also led me into some eating issues. I developed a pretty bad relationship with eating, just because since I couldn't control, my routine and things like that and do what I could, I started trying to control my food as much as I could. And I just didn't have a lot of education on the topic, so I made a lot of silly mistakes, and I lost a ton of weight, and I developed a lot of hormonal issues and everything like that. And, I tried to eventually seek out help, and I wasn't happy with what I got. So again, I started searching on my own, and it led me to John Berardi and his Grande to Brawny book. And then I just started learning as much as I could. And luckily I had a lot of mentors. I reached out to several people within PN. I had a lot of mentors that guided me to good resources, and I just learned as much as I could. So anyways, that's kind of a long backstory, but that's kind of where I got to iFast. And then Precision Nutrition had an opening for a coach, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to apply. So I applied and went through I don't know how many interviews and personality tests and everything else. So it's quite a loop to get in, and I was lucky, and they hired me, and here I am. So like I said, I love my knees, no longer gives me issues. So I love to lift. I love to snowboard. I do some skateboarding. I love all sports. Tennis, football, basketball, baseball, golf, you name it. Like I said, my two big sports actually were golf and tennis. But like I said, I'll watch or play anything. So those are kind of my hobbies. I also love reading. I'm a pretty big nerd. I geek out on mainly nonfiction stuff, nutrition, physiology, stuff like that. But the reason I love this work, like I said, and the reason I think I excelled as a strength coach and trainer is, I really enjoy developing relationships with people, and, and problem solving. So, figuring out what is really the cause of your issues and how we can brainstorm to get that on track. And, I love the PN program. So, the way it's laid out, and I'll go into this in a bit, is, we introduce things systematically, and it can seem slow at first. So I'll never jump ahead of the program, but, I'll help you dig into whatever we need to. So yeah, I don't want this to get too long. Again, we'll have plenty of time to get to know each other. So let's dive in a little bit to, kind of about what the year will be, and I'll kind of keep it brief, try to keep it brief. So I'm going to share my screen. See, PowerPoint. Okay. So European journey for the year. So big things, and hopefully you did some of the orientation stuff, but it's built around lessons and habits. So you will get a lesson daily, and you will get habits every 2 weeks. And yeah, these two cards kind of show that. That's one of the habits we'll have: make smart carb choices. And then each day it'll ask you if you did your habit or not. And we'll track that over time, kind of your consistency, and it'll allow me to see, and your assistant coaches and mentors to see, what area you're struggling with and things like that. But the first portion of the habits is going to focus on not even directly related to nutrition or exercise, and it's focused on making time. Okay, so this is actually going to be your very first habit that we'll work on for 2 weeks, is make time, because this stuff does. I mean, you're the only person that can prioritize your own health and well-being, so you're going to have to make time for this. And it doesn't have to take up that much time, but you do have to make time for it every day. So starting now, think ahead a little bit to your schedule. How can you make time, just 5 to 10 minutes just to check into the site daily? Because what we found is that the people who are most successful are the most consistent. So, there may be some habits or lessons that don't really, hit home for you or don't directly speak to you. But that act of checking in every single day just really keeps it at the top of your mind. Again, it helps me and your assistant coaches know that you're checking in and following along. And that's really important, because it's hard to do all this alone. And, we want to help as much as we can. So right now, think about how you can start fitting everything in. And we do know that life's going to get in the way here and there. So it's not about perfection. When I say consistency, I don't mean that I expect you to be able to check in every single day. I mean, that would be awesome, but maybe something catastrophic comes up. Don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the very next day. Okay. So be thinking about that. That's the first part of the program. And I know it's hard to wait for the nutrition stuff, but I can guarantee you, if you do this, if you focus on this make time habit, it's going to set you up for success later. So after we, work on making time for a few weeks, we're going to move on to some habits related on how to eat. So, we aren't going to get into the what to eat yet, which again, I know that's what everyone wants. They want to be told exactly what to do, but that's not usually what most people struggle with. Most people have a fairly good idea of what they should be eating in terms of choices. So with the how to eat, this is going to focus on, more of your environment, your where you eat, how to set up your kitchen, and things like that, and the speed at which you're eating, and the amounts you're eating. So all of this is going to really be super important, even more than the what to eat. And again, that's why we focus on that first. So again, this is going to be a couple of habits. We'll talk about how to eat, and then we'll get into then we will get into what to eat. And I know this seems like the most exciting part, but like I said, it's not as important as the previous habits. So, this will be broken down into simple, sustainable habits, even for people who know very little about nutrition to people who are very advanced. We just lay it out there, we give you the information, and you tweak it to your needs. So that is what I will say, is that when you enter the program, the temptation is to try to make a complete 180, or that you expect for us to give you this meal plan and, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 20 days. And that's just not how the program works. We don't even expect weight loss or weight gain, if that is your goal, in the first even couple of months, because we're helping you lay the foundation and build the routines that will then make that stuff much easier. Because again, let's say your goal is to lose weight. That's not hard. You can basically not eat and you're going to lose weight, right? But how long does that last? How long does that make you actually happy? You're not going to be happy if you're not eating, you have no energy, but you are losing weight. So that's not going to be the ultimate goal. Same thing with weight gain. It's just not about shoving stuff in and trying to gain as much weight as possible. You want it to be quality weight, and you want to be healthy still. You want to feel good. So we're going to break this down into habits, and what you'll do is you'll continue basically your normal routine and then just add each habit as they come. So don't try to make this complete 180. Just take each habit, practice it as hard as you can, put your full effort, and you will see results. They may not be as fast as you want, but this is not a sprint. We're not trying to sprint to some body weight or anything like that. That just rarely makes people happy in the long term. Okay, if you can build the routines, make this part of your life, you're going to be much more successful. So after the what to eat, we're going to talk more about some nutrition and lifestyle habits outside of that, stress, sleep, different things that really also impact hormones, and they also impact just how much you eat and the choices you make. So if you're really stressed out, you're less likely to make good choices, even if you should. So again, knowing is not the hard part. It's executing it over and over. And we'll also work on refining the habits over time. So there may be a habit that you really struggle with. We only have 2 weeks with it and you don't feel like you've gotten it down. Well, the later parts of the year, we will revisit some of the habits and we'll work on refining that. So you'll have more time to practice. So never feel behind. That is what is easy with this program. You feel like you're going to be behind, but don't. This is your journey, okay? Go at your own pace. And you have coaches to help you refine that. So we also have workouts, okay? And they are not random, okay? So based on your questionnaire, we have over 14 tracks. I think we have a little over 20 tracks based on fitness level, goals, injury history, just multiple things. So you're placed in a track, and that can change over time. If your goals change or we decide that you need something a little less strenuous, more strenuous, etc., we can change that, but I ask that you stick with it for quite a while, and I rarely end up changing people. Most people find that the track they're placed in works really well. We've worked with thousands of people with this system, and yeah, it works out well. So some key points, hard does not equal effective. So I get so many questions about well, what if I'm not sweating, or what if I'm not sore? This seems so much easier than what I was doing before. Trust the process, okay? It's 12 months of program that are periodized over time. They build on top of one another. So I'll go into it here in a second about setting a foundation first and stuff like that. And the same thing, more does not equal better. It's not the case. You have to recover from it. The the key of a workout is to provide a stressor to your body, then you rest, and then you recover and you adapt and you grow stronger from that stressor. So if you do more and more and more and more and more, you can't get anywhere where your body doesn't adapt to that. And where do you go when it does? You have no more to add. So programming really needs to be intelligent. This is a huge passion of mine, is periodization, physiology, and it's a pet peeve because I see so much bad information out there on this topic. So the how. So like I said, the first few months, they're going to seem slow. They're going to seem easy for some people, okay? Especially if you come from a background of lifting hard, it's going to seem easy, but we're going to build this awesome foundation that's going to allow you to succeed and be successful moving forward. And we have new programs usually every 4 weeks is a new phase, and it introduces a new stimulus. So it just depends on what we're focusing on. And we slowly increase difficulty and address weak areas. And each exercise, there's multiple levels. There's a button where you can make it harder, make it less hard. So we can adjust things. If they feel too hard, reach out. I'll help you make them easier. If they feel too easy, please trust the process. And I will review what program track you're in. I do that when I get your questionnaire anyways. And we can adjust, but I rarely need to do that, okay? So yeah, workouts plus habits equal magic, but you have to trust the process. You have to be consistent. Like I said, I'm not trying to boast, but I've coached the winner the past 3 years, every year. And the guys that win are the ones who trust the process. They check in daily or as close as they can, and they put in the effort. I've had the guy that won here last year, he was a high level athlete, and he had done everything. He counted calories, he counted macros, he had cut weight many times. He knew how to do it, but he just could not make it last long term. And what he did is he took each habit as it came. He did not try to, seek something out. He really put in his full effort, and he did awesome. And he's in a happy place. He doesn't feel like it's restrictive in any way, and he feels good. So it's going to be small changes. It's going to seem slow at first. I know, I hear it all the time. I understand you want to see rapid results, but again, like I've said, that doesn't make people happy. It's about maintaining that, and it's finding a way to fit your lifestyle. So again, lessons, why they matter. Part of it is just the act of checking in daily, being consistent, getting it at the top of your mind. But as some of these bullet points talk about, you probably know a lot of what you should be doing. You probably know that you shouldn't be having ice cream every meal, or that cereal is probably not the best breakfast. But why aren't you doing it? Okay, the lessons are going to help you dive into that. They'll also kind of reinforce what you need to know and dispel some myths behind some of the bad information that's out there, which there's a lot. If you watch the news, every day something new. One day an apple is bad for you. The next day it cures some disease. So, we'll help you dispel some of that. And we'll just help you develop tools and routines to be resilient. Because again, we expect life to get in the way. We expect you will probably have to deal with some type of hardship during the year. And that's going to be tough because you'll probably feel behind. But every guy falls behind at some point. It just happens. And that's not what this is about. We're not grading you. It's not about getting an A+. Okay. It's about checking in daily and just focus on doing a little better than you have been in the past. And why 12 months? Because it does take time to build habits, to build a routine. Like I said, this isn't a sprint. It's not a race. We got to focus on the process. We got to put things in place to make you successful in the long run. And you'll have the opportunity to refine and refocus on habits you struggle with or fall off on. So like I said, early in the program, there may be some habits that you struggle with. And, with 12 months, you can go back and revisit some of those later on. And you'll get to build and practice resilience by having ups and downs this year and working with me and your coaching team to overcome them. Okay, that's important because, I've had guys who are just rocking it, doing awesome, and then they hit some kind of huge obstacle and they fall off. So that's really, that's to be expected, and it's almost valuable to have to go through that, because again, you can work through your team, you can work through it, and develop a strong mindset, ability to bounce back. So yeah, I'm sorry that's a little bit long, but I really wanted to dive into some of that stuff. I hope it's helpful. And like I said, I'm super excited to work with all of you. And it's going to be a fun year. Okay. Trust the process. Check in daily. If you have questions, reach out. And yeah, it'll be fun, guys. So I hope that was helpful. Ask any questions you have. And yeah, take care.